Yan, nilabas na po niya yung bata at maliit. If the passenger doesn't have any document to support, there is a violation.
This is On the Record. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Human trafficking is prevalent around the world, but it's never been this brazen or, for that matter, this bizarre. An American national was held at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport some 2 weeks ago as she tried to smuggle out a 6-day-old baby boy who she carried in what authorities thought was a bag, but was actually a baby sling. Jennifer Talbot claimed she was the baby's aunt. The baby has Filipino features. Airline security stopped her when she couldn't produce documents for the baby. There was no passport, no ticket, no signed adoption papers, or at the very least, a permit from the Social Welfare Department stating that the infant's parents are allowing him to travel without them. Our guests for this episode, the head of let's begin with the head of the NBI's, sandali lang I was going to begin with Attorney Ruel Dugayon, who is Executive Director of the NBI's Airport Investigation Division. Attorney Dugayon was at the airport the day this happened. Also with us, the head of an attached agency of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the Inter-Country Adoption. Am I right? That's right, no? Inter-Country Adoption. Yes. Yeah, I wrote that, but it's balibaliktad kasi. Sorry about that. Ay, nako. Attorney Bernadette Abejo, and also performance artist and entrepreneur Gabe Mercado. Gabe adopted his son Bito when the boy was just 2 months old. Bito is now 15. Welcome to the program, Attorney Dugayon, Attorney Abejo, and Gabe. Thank you very much for being here. Attorney Dugayon, can we begin with you? Tell us first your recollection of that day.
On September 4 at about 2:30 p.m., subject Jennifer Talbot was turned over to her office by the personnel from the Bureau of Immigration, together with a baby named Andrew Dulap.
So may pangalan yung baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did the name come from Jennifer Talbot?
It was in the record she was holding, ma'am.
What record?
The medical, the written consent allegedly executed by the mother of the child.
The mother, yung Marie Chris.
Yes,
Marie Chris ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, a written consent saying...
But it was not signed.
Okay. When you say written consent, it was a typewritten document?
Yes,
handwritten?
typewritten, ma'am.
Typewritten. What did it say? Sir, did you bring it with you? Did you have a copy
Yes,
of that?
ma'am.
Oh, can we see that? So it was a written consent, allegedly,
But it was not
unsigned
signed.
by the mother, Marie Chris,
Yes, ma'am.
saying na ina-adopt na yung baby.
That she is consenting to the adoption of the baby.
I see. So yun lang ang dala ni Jennifer Talbot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it there? Anyway,
Affidavit of consent and support.
Affidavit of consent and support.
Yes.
Okay. And an affidavit like this is what is used kapag may adoptions. Ganun ba?
No.
Oh,
Hindi, no? This is not something you would use for an adoption, and definitely there is still an entire process that you go through, hindi ba, Attorney Abejo?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, but Attorney Dugayon, before we go into that na yung adoption, so in the time that you have been at the airport, has this ever happened? Any similar cases? A minor being trafficked or smuggled?
this is the first time that we handled such a case, ma'am. A child being attempted to being smuggled out of the country.
First time for a baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Pero merong mga kaso na minors, teenagers, meron din.
Yes, ma'am. Trafficking din, pero ibang kaso naman yun, ma'am, na nirecruit para magtrabaho abroad
As what?
as domestic helpers.
Domestic helper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mga ilang taon yun?
But sometimes they are 17, the others were 16.
Okay. Pero like you said, how long have you been there, sir, at the NBI Airport Division?
About 1 year, ma'am.
1 year.
Yes.
So in that 1 year you were there, ito pa lang ang unang-unang kaso nyo na may baby na involved.
Yes,
Tapos ito lang ang dalang papeles ng Jennifer Talbot, a typewritten, actually printed out and nakaano pa?
Nakanotaryo.
Nakanotaryo pa.
Yes, ma'am.
Yun yung maganda.
Aba. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Nakanotaryo, attorney. Is it okay to read out the name
Yes,
ng
ma'am.
Notary Public? Attorney Ralph James G. Laman, Notary Public, Davao City. Subscribed and sworn to me before the 2nd day of September 2019. And then this Maricris Dulap, saying that she's the mother of Andrew Dulap, who was born in August 29, 2019. So, tama, no? 6 days,
Yes, ma'am.
6-day-old. Southern Philippines Medical Center, Davao City. Giving my consent for my child to travel to the United States of America, accompanied by his aunt, Jennifer Erin Talbot. And definitely, this is not complete travel documents.
Yes, ma'am. It was not even signed by the mother.
Okay. When Jennifer Talbot, when you questioned her there at the airport, is it true that she already said na I'm the aunt and ito na yung papeles ko?
She was saying that she wants to bring the baby in the U.S. to give her a name and a blessing.
Anong blessing?
She was saying that I want her for a blessing. That's what she was saying.
Okay.
And to become a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormon.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Pero syempre, well, we will ask Attorney Abejo in a bit, no? When you spoke to her, that was her defense, no? Na siya daw yung aunt na. Paano siya naging tita ng baby? Paano siya naging aunt?
She was not the aunt, ma'am. She was not the aunt.
How
of
can we
the-
say that she's not the aunt? Because she's American and the baby's Filipino?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And yet, it is here in this affidavit of consent and support.
Yes, ma'am.
No,
They are
that-
making it appear that she is
Yeah.
the aunt.
This affidavit of consent and support that is not signed anyway by the mother, but notarized.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so may problema din tayo sa notary public kasi ni notaryo niya wala namang signature.
Yes, ma'am.
You've gotten in touch with the notary public?
Not
Not
we are
yet.
we are conducting further investigation, ma'am.
Okay. Because the other claim she made was that si Jennifer Talbot, that she had an emergency in the U.S. and that's why she couldn't process the papers for adoption of the baby. Pwede ba yun? Is that a good enough excuse?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Pero alam niya na kailangan ng passport yung bata.
Yes, she knows it.
Okay. So how did she explain na ganun lang? I didn't have time eh. Nagmamadali ako, may emergency ako, ganon.
She keeps insisting that the mother of the child gave her consent.
Okay. So, and akala niya na makakalusot siya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But was there something strange when, at the very beginning, even before she got to airport, to the airline security, yung last check-in, yung bata nakatago sa loob eh. Hindi niya, kumbaga, hindi niya dinideclare eh. Pati sa immigration, hindi naman niya pinakita, hindi ba?
She was trying to conceal the baby
Trying to conceal the baby.
through his sling bag.
Okay, when you say trying to conceal the baby, based on CCTV footage which
Yes.
we're showing. Okay, so you are saying that definitely this was an attempted trafficking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and those were the charges you filed against her.
Yes, attempted trafficking in persons.
Trafficking in persons and child abuse.
Yes.
Where is she currently detained?
She is currently detained at Pasay City Jail.
And she really is there.
Yes.
Okay, pero bailable po ito?
Available po.
When can she be, is there a possibility that she will not be granted bail?
I think
Depending on severity of, no.
I think she would be granted bail.
How much is bail?
I don't know, ma'am.
We don't. Pero ano po yung penalty nito? Attempted trafficking in persons?
15 years po. 15 years.
15 years in prison. And while she is, because the hearing starts, kailan ba? Nagsimula
The
na
hearing
ata.
already started yesterday.
Okay. And if she is found guilty, and if convicted,
For-
or at least, sorry, before that, during the hearings, during the trial, hindi siya makakalabas ng Pilipinas.
Yes, she will not be allowed to depart from the Philippines.
Okay. And all that time, okay, so now detained, pero ano, okay. But you did get to speak to the mother of the child.
We have tried to call the mother, but the person answered that he is the father of the child.
Ano po? May sumasagot sa telepono? Ganun.
Opo, may sumasagot pero nagpapakala naman na siya yung ama ng bata.
Aha, okay. At ayaw niya ibigay kay Marie Chris
Ang sabi niya, yung nanay, asan yung asawa mo, si Marie Chris, ang sabi niya, nasa Davao City. At siya daw ay nasa Tagum.
Aha. At alam niya kung ano nangyari. Alam niya na
Tinanong namin kung alam mo ba nadala ng Amerikana yung anak mo. Sabi niya, hindi ko alam, sabi niya.
Oh, okay. So wala kayong contact pa kay Marie Chris?
Wala pa po, ma'am.
Oh, I see. But she will be liable also.
Yes, ma'am.
What charges will be filed against her if you find her?
For child abuse.
Child abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Not for attempted trafficking.
For conspiring with Jennifer Dulab. She will be charged for attempt to commit child trafficking.
Okay. Attorney Abejo, we were going through that affidavit. It's actually my first time to see this. No, very surprising.
Very.
Very interesting, very intriguing.
Yeah.
This is what? Completely illegal?
We have laws in place. In the
Right.
first place, any inter-country adoption begins in the receiving country. Meaning, in this case, it would be in the United States.
Right. Oo.
She will be assessed if she is suitable as a prospective adoptive mother, and her file will be endorsed to us for further assessment, and they're not allowed to pre-identify children.
Okay. In this case, she went to Davao, apparently from the looks of the document.
Yeah.
She spoke, she claimed to the mother of the baby, the claimed mother of the baby, and had this document.
And
done.
also, this is a 6-day-old child. It's impossible.
Walang for adoption ang 6-day-old.
Because we give the parents like 3 months to finally decide after counseling if they're going to give up their children. Without the counseling, it's not possible. Under current laws, in the past, it was allowed. You issue an affidavit of consent to adopt, then you can give up your child just like that. But now, because of Republic Act 9523, it's necessary for you to give up your child to the state and not to individual persons.
Okay. We'll take a very quick break. This is On the Record. We'll be right back. Back to On the Record, still with us, Attorney Dugayon of the NBI's sandali lang, International Airport Investigation Division, Attorney Ruel Dugayon, Attorney Abejo of the unattached agency of the DSWD Intercountry Adoption Board, which, like you said, ma'am, is the very reason women like this, this Jennifer Talbot, that's one of the reasons, the very reason why you exist,
Why we exist.
To prevent things like this from happening.
Yes.
And also, of course, Gabe Mercado is here. Sandali lang, Gabe, sorry.
Oh, no. I'm fascinated.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
fascinating. Oh. It's so fascinating that si Attorney Dugayon pala, dala niya. Sir, can you show us na lang po? Dala niya yung passport ni Jennifer Talbot and a picture of this Marie Chris Dulab.
This is the passport of
Can you show it na lang po? Itaas na lang, tapos iharap na lang po sa camera.
This is the passport of Jennifer Talbot. And this is the picture of Marie Chris Dulab, which we got through Facebook.
Okay, and you searched for her name, Marie Chris
Yes, ma'am.
Sempron Dulab, which is on the affidavit that you showed us a while ago.
Yes.
Okay, and like you said earlier, you tried to get in touch with her through a phone number that
the phone
galing
number.
kay Jennifer
Yes,
Talbot.
ma'am. But the one answering was allegedly the father of the child.
Okay. Okay, oops, sir, naiwan yung ibang papeles nyo. Baka mapunta sa akin. Baka may mabasa ako dyan. Anyway, okay. So, Attorney Abejo, like we were talking about earlier, the country has very, very strict laws about, lalo na about inter-country adoptions. Like you said, it should start in the receiving country.
Yes.
So, something like this is highly irregular. You don't just go to the Philippines, come here, and...
This is beyond irregular. This is actually why we exist.
Yeah.
Actually, the basis of all of this is a convention that we signed, the 1993 Hague Convention. And because we signed that, it's to prevent, because worldwide, fertility rates are dropping. And they come to third world countries like us looking for children to adopt.
Yeah, because they think what? It would be easy to spirit out the children, ganun ba?
Well,
What?
inter-country
because-
adoptions has some good and some bad history. Because they prey on third world countries, they think that they can purchase children. Like there are many adoption countries where they source children who have closed the program because of it's becoming a money pit. People are buying children off the streets, but happily in the Philippines we're kind of strict. But this is beyond.
Yeah.
This is beyond.
No, I understand it's a very stringent process.
It is.
And I know that there might not, 24 hours will not be enough to explain everything. But can you explain it in like 1 minute?
I can. No, they have to apply with the central authority in their country, any foreigner. The central authority will determine whether or not they are suitable to adopt. Background checks, everything. And then they will send the file to our office. Our office will verify the files. And for the Philippines, we have additional requirements that's beyond the basic.
Yeah, like what are these additional?
Well, we require psychological tests. We require that they have a minimal educational attainment.
Which
Because
is what? What is minimal education?
Well, it would be high school. High school that's, like our K to
K to 12.
12 thing.
Okay.
And we have income requirements because we have to make sure that they can actually care for the child and not use the child for money-making purposes. Because especially in welfare states, they get an allowance for the child.
Okay,
Right? So
yeah.
we have to make sure that it's the best interest of the child is protected.
Okay, so when they go through that background check and then,
Then they
check
go,
all boxes.
Then they go into a roster of approved applicants. And then the DSWD, as the competent authority to determine the suitability of children, will first search locally for
For a match,
domestic families.
Yeah.
When-
Before offering the children to
yes.
foreign.
Only after no local families are found, then the file will go to us.
Search where? Adoption?
No, the families apply to the DSWD
okay, so meron ganon.
regions.
Meron.
And that's what happened to you,
Yes.
Gabe,
Yes.
ano?
Yes.
Yung pamilya ang
Yes,
ganon.
there is a
Okay.
process.
Yeah.
We do local matching at the regional level. After that, they go to inter-regional level. If there are still no applicants, then the children are referred to the inter-country adoption board.
And since this is a government-to-government thing, no, and it goes through a very stringent process, there is no way, ano bang mangyari? Yung kunyari, mag-a-adopt sa Amerika, hindi sila magbabayad dun sa magulang ng babies dito sa Pilipinas? No.
Like I said, we have a law which is Republic Act 9523. Children can only be given up directly to the state as parents patriae. The state now will determine where the child will go.
Okay, so definitely this affidavit that we saw a while ago of this Marie
no.
Chris Dulap, no way, it shouldn't have.
No way.
Okay, and so that's why we have a problem with the notary public kasi nanag
Correct.
tayo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but are there some rules na, because last week we did a show on this also for Newsnight, no, and Rod Nepomuceno, for example, you know Rod, no, was here, so he's adopted, he has two adopted children. DSWD Sec Villar was here, and then pinag-usapan din ano ba yung mga, meron din mga red tape and bottlenecks that happen that work against, for example, yung mga local na mag-adopt sana. And I wanted to ask you about that. And then we want to go also to Gabe's story, Gabe Mercado's story. We'll be right back. This is On the Record. This is On the Record. Attorney Abejo was saying earlier, you were saying earlier that there's so many families here in the Philippines waiting for children to adopt and abroad also. And there are also success stories, and I wanted to go to one of them right now. Si Gabe Mercado, who's been patiently waiting. I'm sure you also patiently waited for Bito. I know there are always two sides of the journey, diba? The legal and the emotional. I wanted to go through first yung legal and then yung emotional. Kaya lang, we have so little time.
Yes,
yeah?
yes, yes.
But since you're a performance artist and a media guy, communicator,
I will
I'm
do
sure
it in
you can...
interpretive
Sige.
dance.
Tell us the story. Tell us the story.
Sa amin kasi, nilapit yung my son. He was surrendered to a church.
Okay.
And foundling yon ang classification
Right.
nun. So our immediate action was to register to the DSWD. Because the DSWD is really the agency that takes custody. The DSWD, knowing that we had already had a bond, gave us a foster license. And what that means is that we now have the legal capability to take care of the child. Tapos, binibisita kami regularly ng social worker. So that's the proper way to do it, on the way to adoption. And then eventually, the whole process of adoption, and the wrinkle here is during that time, I went through an annulment as well, ganon. So I had to finish my annulment proceedings for 5 years. And then another 2 years for adoption as a single father.
That's more difficult ba? As a single parent?
No naman.
Same.
We actually encourage singles to adopt also aside from married. Married
Well, is
people.
it true yung may mga bottlenecks, may red tape din along the way, or are these things there to precisely to prevent?
Yeah, the bottlenecks that I've experienced only came from that adoption also happens kasi in the family courts. So the family courts are clogged with annulment cases, other cases. So, but otherwise, I am a supporter of the strong laws that are in place. Siguro if there's something I can request, perhaps another court that will handle just faster adoption
Although
cases.
Rod Nepomuceno brought up last week nga na sana administrative instead of, tama ba yun? Administrative instead of legal, yung, tama ba yun? Is that what,
Well,
yes,
there-
rather than a legal process? or
There are moves to do that. But I actually caught that show.
okay.
And I saw that they raised 11222,
11222.
Republic Act.
Okay.
11222, because it speaks of administrative adoption. But I think it was out of context, because that law, while it speaks of administrative adoption, it's when people simulate births, meaning they get the baby and register themselves as the
parents.
parent.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
falsification. That's
Yeah,
actually
right.
a crime.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So this law, 11222, actually is giving you like a 10-year period
To correct.
to correct the simulation, but it only applies to people who've adopted.
Yeah.
The child is with them for at least 3 years.
Parang amnesty.
Exactly.
In a way, okay. Pero tama yung proseso ni Gabe, ano?
Ay, that's
foster.
perfect.
Pero ngayon, hindi na foster.
Ano na, completely,
Na-kompleto mo na
yes.
yun. Okay. And of course, wait, I wanted to give Gabe the last few seconds to give the final words, no? About this. I'm sure it's been an extraordinary and fulfilling journey,
Yes,
right?
yes.
With Bito.
Yes. He's 15 now. In a week, he'll be 15. And it's really a journey that I've been very privileged to take. The best decision that I made in my life was to adopt him and to adopt him the right way. And please don't be afraid of agencies like the SWD, because that was my fear. I would have to surrender him as a foundling, but they dealt with it with efficiency, compassion,
most
and a lot
professional
of
manner.
Yes. So go to the DSWD if you're a childless couple or even if you're a single waiting to start your own family. They accept us as well.
Well, thank you very much to all our guests for enlightening us on this entire issue. Attorney Ruel Dugayon, sir, thank you very much. Attorney Bernadette Abejo of ICAB and Gabe Mercado. Maraming salamat.
Thank you,
for
Pia.
sharing your story with us. And thank you for watching That Is On The Record this week. I'm Pia Hontiveros.
Yan, nilabas na po niya yung bata. Maliit. passenger doesn't have any document to support there is a violation.